The Ferrari's engine screamed, then died. Smoke curled into the night air. The wealthy man slammed the hood shut, jaw tight, suit flawless, patience gone. Cars passed. No one stopped. Then a small voice broke the tension. Soft, certain. "My dad can fix this." He turned. A little girl stood on the sidewalk, backpack too big for her shoulders, eyes calm. Her father stood behind her, oil-stained jacket, quiet, ignored. The man scoffed. "This car costs more than your house," he snapped. The girl didn't flinch. She just smiled and whispered something that made her father freeze, because she knew exactly who this man was, and what was about to happen next would humble him forever. Stay with us, because this moment of pride is about to collide with truth, dignity, and a lesson money can't buy. The man with the broken Ferrari was Julian Cross, real estate tycoon, media favorite, a man used to being obeyed. He stood stranded on a quiet city street, anger simmering beneath tailored confidence. The little girl was Emily Walker, 8 years old, too observant for her age. Her father, Thomas Walker, worked nights fixing engines most people had given up on. A former master mechanic. Laid off when automation replaced loyalty. People nearby watched from bus stops and cafes. Some smirked. Some judged. Julian glanced at Thomas and dismissed him instantly. Dirty hands. Old jacket, no power. What Julian didn't know, what no one on that street realized, was that Thomas had once designed engines far more complex than the one sitting dead behind, Julian. And tonight, fate had parked arrogance right beside quiet genius. Julian checked his watch. Again. And again. "My driver will be here any minute," he muttered loud enough for everyone to hear. Emily stepped closer to the Ferrari, eyes scanning the vents, the exhaust. "Dad," she whispered, "it's not the engine." Thomas stiffened. "Emily," he said gently, "let the man call his people." Julian laughed. "Your kid diagnosing a Ferrari now?" People nearby snickered. Emily ignored them. She crouched. Pointed. "The fuel pump relay," she said. "It's overheating." Julian's smile faded, just slightly. Thomas swallowed. "That model had a recall," he said quietly. "No one listens." Julian scoffed. "I've owned Ferraris longer than you've owned that jacket." A valet from a nearby restaurant approached, recording. "Sir, maybe let him try?" Julian waved him off. "Touch my car and I'll sue." Emily reached into her backpack and pulled out a small notebook. Handwritten diagrams, dates, serial numbers, proof. She handed it to her father. Thomas looked at it, and his hands started to shake. Because it wasn't just a guess. It was a documented flaw. One Julian's own company had buried to avoid a lawsuit. Julian's phone rang. "Oh, corporate." And suddenly, this wasn't about a broken car anymore. It was about a secret that should have stayed hidden. Julian answered the phone. His face changed. Color drained. Confidence cracked. "Yes, I'm with the vehicle now," he said stiffly. Emily looked up at her father. "Dad," she whispered, "that's the recall case. The one you told me about." Thomas closed his eyes. Julian hung up and turned slowly. "You," he said, pointing at Thomas, "step away from my car." But it was too late. A police cruiser rolled up, called by a bystander, who thought a fight might break out. Behind it, a news van. The valet's live stream had exploded. Thousands watching. Emily's notebook was now in Thomas's hands, and then the officer's. "What's this?" the officer asked. "Documentation," Thomas replied calmly, "on a suppressed safety defect. That model's fuel relay overheats and shuts the engine down." Julian laughed nervously. "This is ridiculous." "He's a nobody." Emily spoke again. Clear, brave. "My dad helped design this system," she said. "He warned them. They fired him." Silence. The officer looked at Julian, then at the Ferrari. "Pop the hood." Julian hesitated. Cameras closed in. Thomas stepped forward, not touching, just pointing. "See the burn mark?" he said. "Factory flaw, not wear." A mechanic from the restaurant leaned in. "So that's why 3 of these died last month." Whispers turned into gasps. Julian backed up, stumbling. "This stays off record," he snapped. "I'll make it worth your while." Thomas shook his head. I already lost my job for telling the truth, he said. I won't lose my daughter's respect. The officer radioed in, requesting corporate recall verification. Emily held her father's hand. Julian's knees buckled, because in front of everyone, a man with money had been exposed, by a man with integrity, and a little girl who believed in her dad. By morning, the story was everywhere. Wealthy tycoon exposed by mechanic and daughter. Regulators opened an investigation. A recall was announced within days. Julian Cross resigned quietly. No press conference, no apology. The Ferrari was towed, not in shame, but in truth. Thomas Walker didn't ask for compensation. He asked for accountability. And he got it. A former engineering firm offered him his position back. With respect this time. Emily walked into school the next week holding her father's hand. Not because she was afraid, but because she was proud. Neighbors who once ignored Thomas now waved. Shop owners offered help. People listened. That night, Thomas fixed cars in his small garage again. But this time reporters waited outside. Emily sat on a stool, smiling. You weren't lost, she said softly. Thomas laughed. No, he replied. I just needed you to remind me who I am. And the world learned a lesson it never forgets. Never confuse wealth with wisdom. Never confuse silence with weakness. And never underestimate a child who believes in her father. Because sometimes the truth arrives quietly, in the voice of a little girl.